The Raiders' behind-the-scenes story keeps heating up, because in Las Vegas, nothing stays quiet for long. After that wild offseason coaching shakeup, things are spilling over into the offense and front office, with moves that have the fan base completely divided. In the middle of all that, a quarterback from the AFC North has suddenly become a trade target, while one of the team's starters is under serious scrutiny. And trust me, the last part of this story is going to make a lot of people lose their minds. But before we break down every piece of this chaos, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It's completely free, costs you nothing, and helps keep this Raiders talk alive right here in the nation. Smash that like button too, because it helps YouTube push this video out to even more silver and black fans everywhere. And drop your thoughts in the comments, because this space belongs to everyone who bleeds for this team every single day. Let's keep growing this community together. Man, this one caught even the insiders off guard. A massive revelation just dropped about the Raiders coaching search, and Robert Saleh's name is right in the middle of it. Yeah, that Robert Saleh, now doing big things in San Francisco. According to journalist Mike Silver, the Raiders didn't just try to hire him as defensive coordinator, they offered him the highest salary in the entire league, plus a promise that he'd be next in line to replace Pete Carroll as head coach. Imagine that. The franchise could have locked in its future before the season even started, but Saleh turned it down, saying he already knew exactly where he wanted to be, back with the Niners, even with a record-breaking offer and a clear succession plan on the table. That's the kind of move that shows just how ambitious the Raiders front office really was behind the scenes. And honestly, it explains a lot about their mindset, long-term vision, stability, a plan for the next era. Instead, they ended up with a 73-year-old Carroll and an offense run by Chip Kelly, who came out of college football retirement to become the highest-paid offensive coordinator in the NFL. Now the team sits at 2-5. Carroll's already admitted they're behind schedule, and patience is running thin. He said himself that the offense isn't clicking yet, the defense has been holding things together, and only now the special teams are starting to show life again. It's tough to hear after all that investment, but at least it shows Carroll knows the reality. And even through the chaos, there's still a flicker of hope inside that locker room. One guy on offense is starting to step up in a way that might just change the course of the season. Stick around, because the next story is all about him. Now, speaking of hope, there's one player who's been the brightest light in this messy offense, Tre Tucker. The kid is turning into one of the few real positives of the season. After waiting so long for consistent snaps, he's finally proving why people were so high on him in the first place. His speed, his ability to stretch the field, he's breathing life into an attack that's looked lifeless for weeks. Geno Smith talked about him this week, and you could feel the respect in his tone. Said Tucker's a problem for defenses, that he practices at full throttle every single day, has great hands, plays bigger than his frame, and brings real energy to the field. And you can see it. It's raw, it's real, and it's exactly what this team needed. Pete Carroll even chimed in saying Tucker's been their most effective deep threat and that he's improving on short routes too. That's high praise coming from a coach who doesn't hand out compliments easily. To be real with you guys, this is proof that the Raiders' issue isn't a lack of talent. It's about usage and trust. Tucker's showing what happens when a player gets confidence and a real role. If the offense keeps building around that, maybe Geno finds some rhythm again. Fans know when someone's playing with heart, and this kid's got plenty of it. But just when things start looking up, this team finds a way to flip the script. This move shocked everyone. The Raiders just signed veteran wide receiver Tyler Lockett. Yeah, the same Lockett who shined for years under Pete Carroll and Geno Smith in Seattle. It's basically a Seahawks reunion happening right in our backyard. Fans online went wild. Some said it's a smart veteran pickup, someone who can mentor the young receivers like Tre Tucker and Jack Beck. Others called it a desperate move from a team that's lost its direction. There were memes calling him 85 years old and jokes that the team should just bring in Russell Wilson to finish the set. But beneath all the laughs, you can feel the frustration. Raider Nation's tired of watching the front office chase aging vets while the young guys sit and wait. Every week, it's rebuild mode, but the decisions scream panic. And even though Lockett's a pro's pro, he's joining an offense still trying to figure out what it wants to be. Honestly, I get both sides. Geno already has chemistry with him, and that might help stabilize the offense a bit. But I also get the frustration. This move feels like living in the past instead of building the future. It's a clear sign Pete Carroll has major influence in this project, maybe even more than GM John Spytek, and when fans start asking who's really in charge, you know the situation's fragile, because what comes next could completely redefine this team's direction. And speaking of what's next, there's a young quarterback name buzzing around the league right now, and his connection to Tom Brady might just bring him straight to Las Vegas. All right, this one's wild. Shedeur Sanders' name is suddenly all over the league rumor mill, and 3 teams are reportedly interested: the Miami Dolphins, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and of course, the Las Vegas Raiders. It's the kind of story no one saw coming this early, but when you break it down, it actually makes a lot of sense. Things in Cleveland went south fast. Shedeur fell to the 5th round, barely sees the field, and honestly deserves a real opportunity. The kid's got the arm, the poise, and the confidence. You just need a franchise willing to let him roll. Let's look at the fits. In Miami, he'd walk into chaos. Tua Tagovailoa's struggling, but that locker room's a pressure cooker. Probably not the best environment for a young quarterback. In Jacksonville, there's an interesting twist. Trevor Lawrence isn't lighting it up, and the Jags are competitive, sure. But with Lawrence still under contract, Shedeur would be nothing more than a headline. A reunion with Travis Hunter would be fun, but that's more marketing than football. Now, when it comes to the Raiders, everything starts clicking. The franchise was linked to Shedeur before the draft, mostly because of his connection to Tom Brady, who's now a minority owner. Geno Smith hasn't lived up to his price tag, and the team clearly needs a plan for the future. Shedeur brings exactly the kind of energy this fan base craves: confident, fearless, competitive. The fit just makes sense. Vegas, the brand, the Brady connection, Chip Kelly's offensive system, it all lines up. The only hurdle is timing. Pulling the trigger now would take guts and an admission that the current plan isn't working. But man, can you imagine? A young, fiery quarterback in the silver and black, it just feels right. And this rumor might not be random at all, because what came out this week about Geno Smith's performance hit hard inside and outside the locker room. To wrap it up, let's talk about the analysis that stirred the pot. Geno Smith's rocky start in Las Vegas. Joel Corey from CBS Sports dropped a deep dive on the trade, and the numbers don't lie. 7 games, 10 interceptions, and an offense still searching for an identity. Remember? The Raiders traded for him and handed out a 2-year, $75 million contract. Over $50 million guaranteed. That's a massive price for this kind of production. Corey even compared Geno to Kirk Cousins in 2020, who also started off rough but managed to bounce back. The difference? Geno doesn't look in control. He's stuck between trying to play hero and trying not to screw up, and ends up doing both. You can see the frustration in his body language, even in his interviews. After the loss to Kansas City, he said all the right things, took the blame, said he's pointing the thumb at himself. And yeah, that accountability matters, but talk's cheap. The fans want results. They want touchdowns, not turnovers. Raider Nation will always back someone who fights, but they're running out of patience for the same mistakes week after week. And here's the thing: when your quarterback is the centerpiece of your offseason and you're sitting at 2-5, the conversation shifts. Patience turns into pressure. Geno still has a chance to turn it around, but time's running out. The locker room feels it, the coaches feel it, and you can bet the front office is already exploring options. Maybe even Shedeur, because right now, the new beginning feels like deja vu. And trust me, Raider Nation's seen this movie before. After all that, you can feel it. This is one of those defining moments for the Raiders. Exposed decisions, risky bets, veterans coming in, young talent waiting for a real shot, and the quarterback position already under debate before mid-season. It's the kind of moment that tests the soul of a franchise. But through all the chaos, one thing never wavers: the fans. Even in the worst stretches, Raider Nation doesn't walk away. We argue, we cheer, we bleed for this team. That's why this channel exists, to turn that passion into real conversation. So drop your thoughts below. Does Geno still deserve your trust? Is Shedeur the start of a new era? What do you think about Lockett? Help or headache? This community belongs to everyone who lives and breathes the silver and black. And just when we think we've seen it all, something new always drops. This team keeps us hooked every single day, and I'll be right here, riding through it all with you. Just win, baby.